What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Team COG. And today, guys, I got a Dracotail deck profile for you guys here, featured on the channel. I'm not a big fan of the turn 0 gameplay. I've been very vocal about that in all my YouTube videos and all that type of stuff, all my comments and everything. But out of the Justice Hunter set, I was like, I need to pick up one of the decks, and Yummy kind of fits my playstyle better, but I just hate the artwork. I wasn't a big and K9's not really a deck, let's be honest. It's just like an engine. At the bare minimum, it's like Gammon Driver, right? And then Dracotail. So I wanted to try Dracotail because I really like the artwork, and like the turn 0 fusioning is kind of cool. However, like the deck was like really cool, and it was actually inspired. This list was inspired by the guy at the region I went to a couple weeks ago, who just ended up giving me the Swift 2-0, punished me. So I wanted to be able to looked at his list, saw his list on, I think, YuGiOh and just put together. There is no Cartesia, spoiler alert, in this list that Jesse Cotton went and topped YCS Vancouver with. However, I still like to go ahead and show you guys like this bare bones list so you guys can like work on it and talk about it and stuff. But yeah, please remember, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell, hit that join button if you guys want to help support the channel directly. It's just get knighted, all that fine jazz. And please remember to check out our sponsors, link down in the description below. Dueling Guard, they have some awesome TCG exclusives and TCG accessories. Yeah, so without further ado, we'll just quickly jump on here into the deck profile. So it's pretty standard, I'd say, but I really like I really like the standard list. I do think maybe Cartesia could, it has definitely some space in it, but I just got to pick mine up. So without the Cartesia, we are rocking the triple Lucaeus. This card is pretty insane. The road of the deck, not much more can be said. All the Dracotails share the similar effect that they're sent to graveyard as fusion material. They get to set a Dracotail spell or trap, which is kind of cool, but this is essentially your Stratos of the deck. And then this card is what literally makes it go around, is the Famina, or the Fine Mama, is what we call her at our locals here. The Fine Mama is, she's her quick effect fusion during the main phase. It's literally what gives the deck kind of, even though it's kind of wild, is that sometimes like you don't see her in opening hand, and then you just have to play like a worse fusion deck, it feels like. However, having her in your opening hand does give you layered disruption. It's kind of like she doesn't count as the fusion material herself. You discard her to fuse, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, again, if it's sent to graveyard as fusion material, she does allow you to be able to set a spell and trap. Triple Malulu. Malulu is kind of your Cartesia in the deck. It allows you on field quick effect fusion summon a Dracotail, I believe. Yeah, fusion one Dracotail fusion monster. And then if it is sent to graveyard as fusion material, it is a non-targeting monster effect negate, which is really strong. But the only thing is this locks you into you can only fusion some Dracotails, and like Arthur Lion and Gumel is like the only good ones. So until we get like another fusion, like this one's just in here because it's a walking imperm. If you time it correctly, you can use this guy perfectly here. And then for the two smaller dragons, we have one Urgula and then one Pan, or Pan, however you want to say it. If this card is used as fusion material, it allows you to non-targeting destroy a spell and trap, non-targeting destroy a monster. But these both have interesting graveyard effects. Urgula, you can target a spellcaster in your graveyard, add it to hand, put this to the bottom of the deck, and then Pan allows you, if a fusion monster you control is destroyed by card effect, you can special summon itself. No, specials just summon a Dracotail monster from your graveyard. So yeah, that's it for the monsters. I know we're getting a new one in the next coming set, which will be coming soon, even though I've heard some really controversy of that card. I heard like some people are not big fans of the new card. Apparently it works really good with the branded, the variant of the deck list. But yeah, not really much more can be said here, in my opinion. That's it for the monsters. I did know Jesse Cotton was playing 3-pan, and I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know the really consistency of the Dracotail community, but Jesse Cotton is literally, his name resonates for a reason. But I don't think 3-pan is correct, because like you just open these guys. However, I could see the opening one or playing two of these in some form or fashion, because like you want to see them, just because Pawn is like a fusion deer, like kind of like if you go as a Fine Mama here to fuse, you're able to fuse away a pawn, because if you open it better, you're just able to non-target. Not only are you making an Arthur Lion, but then like you can use Arthur Lion to bounce back your own, like more cards that you've used to fuse rather than cards your opponent controls, and because Pawn will be able to destroy a card, which is pretty nice. But I hope that makes sense. But moving on to the spells, we are on to Ketu. I don't know if you guys are Evil Dead fans, but I think this is the first phrase of when they read out of that evil book and the Evil Dead. It's like Ketu Nevrata Nisto or something like that. But this is your Rhoda. And if your opponent controls a monster, it's a fusion summon, which is really cool because, let's see here, Malulu, you have to fusion summon Dracotails. Famina, you can only special summon, you fusion summon using spellcasters or dragons, and then Keto allows you to fusion summon a spellcaster or dragon, which is kind of nice. Whereas like Rahu, which is your branded fusion, Also allows you to, you have to fusion summon a Dracotail monster, so then you have to use a Dracotail monster from your hand because both Arthalion and Gumail require a Dracotail monster in hand. So it's not, it's kind of like Brand of Fusion at home, right? But cards are still insane. This locks you into Fusion Summon for the rest of the turn. You can only special summon Dracotail monsters. Dracotail Cat 2 doesn't lock you into, it only unlocks you, restricts you to spellcasters and dragons, and like Malulu locks you into Dracotail. But Femina, Find Mama here, says spellcasters or dragons, which is kind of wild. And then the final two, one flame, one horn. I think this is the correct ratio. I don't know how many times I've drawn both these. It must be like a curse or something, but I've drawn both these. You kind of want to get these both in a resource loop. So you get them both turn one, and then you use the other to shuffle back the other, essentially. So if you use flame, flame shuffle, you use flame first, horn will shuffle back flame, you reset flame, flame shuffle back horn. You just continue that continuous resource loop. But I mean, like, it is kind of fair because both these cards can be interactive with Bell and Ash. So, I mean, like, it is okay, but these cards are kind of wild. Kind of interesting that this is just a spell negate, which is kind of, like, you know, out of all the, like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, like, why wouldn't this be a spell or trap negate, right? But Konami and their all-important wisdom, when they design cards, thank goodness it's not, because it does kind of make it, like, kind of fair in a way, I guess. But moving on to the non-Dracotail engine, we are on, I play the 3 King of the Swamps and the 1 Feral Imps. I really enjoy this engine so much that I will probably pick up foil, whether it be collector rare or super rare, King of the Swamps, because I enjoy this. This card has a lot of utility. Not really much more can be said. The ability for this card to count as any of the fusion materials for Dragoon or Tyrant Dragon, but also being able to pitch it to add a polymerization, which then you can just poly and then poly. Sometimes it's a fat poly to make a really big, girthy Arthalion to be able to bounce like pretty much like 3 or 4 cards, which is kind of insane. But yep, that's, I guess, I don't know if you play these in the Cartesia variant, but like roughly you could, you know, like here's your 3 Cartesia if you really want to. You can just find a way to incorporate here. Now, onto the non-engine, which is why I think this deck is really insane, truly. And that's kind of like, so I like this deck for a few reasons, because I like the interaction that it provides, because you play so many hand traps, and then Femina allows you to, like, interact. And I know, like, compared to, like, the other turn 0 stuff that exists, like K9 and, like, Vinquersoul, I don't think this deck, because most of the time, man, if you're going first, if you're using Find Mama to fuse, you're gonna be bouncing some of your cards back so you don't lose in resource, because like you have to pitch the Femina, and then you got to potentially have 2 more cards in your hand, and if you don't open like all Dracotail names, you're gonna be pitching a hand trap. So then it's just kind of like a weird like resource management source. So like it's all right. But you do have to manage your resources, and that's like what makes this deck really interactive, is the fact that you play so much non-engine, and all the hand traps, even though the Mochummies, even like right here, aren't the best when you're going first, but they are still cards that you can use to fuse to make like a better Arthalion and stuff like that. So with that being said, I do think in this deck it is mandatory that you do play both of these Mochummies. I know normally I say if you can't afford these, especially because Pearls are so expensive, thank goodness that the reprint got confirmed in the Mega Tins. But if I'd say, like, you should at least play one or the other. If you don't have room to play both, all decks essentially, and now in today's age, should be playing one or the other. Probably Fua, because it covers more ground, whereas Perilia, sometimes it doesn't even get you a draw. But I think that this deck benefits so much, because some hands all you see, especially if you guys have checked out my streams, especially I live stream earlier this week at Locals just testing this deck, and there was so many hands where I just opened all non-engine, and it's like, what are the statistically, that should not be happening, man, but it just is. But one thing I noticed is that if you don't open Find Mama, you're playing, like I said, like a worse fusion deck, a worse branded deck. So you need like these cards to be able to draw you into the Femina to be able to draw, to be able to use that card to get your engine going on the turn 0. Otherwise, like I said, it's just kind of rough moving forward, going into a board going second. And then of course triple Ash Blossom to hit the Mochummies. But it's also kind of like, it's kind of nasty. Someone should probably call Geneva. It's kind of like crazy for you to Arthalion bounce back like Ash and Effect Veiler, or like Effect Veiler once and then Arthalion and bounce back the same Effect Veiler and use it again. That's like, should be reported to Geneva or something like that, because that doesn't seem fair at all. But then triple Nibiru, because again, very powerful hand trap, high impact, puts a body on field so you can fuse. Triple Effect Veiler, I just literally said why you should call like call the NATO or something like that, because Effect Veiler and then like Arthalion to bounce back the same Effect Veiler you just used to be able to use it again is like absurd. And then for the last 2 non-engine is Call by the Grave and Triple T, just because you just need to stop things. You just need counters to hand traps, because even though like I feel like the hand trap lineup or the count is like dwindling down, you still need to have the ability to like call by an Ash. talents to be able to draw 2 cards, sometimes to get you an engine. So they're just really good blowout cards. You are probably get into like crossout range if you want to play like 3, because you play the holy trinity of like anti-hand traps if you really wanted to. But I really found that in my testing that you really don't want to see non-monster cards in your hand just because you want to fuse, and you can't fuse with spell and traps. But that is it for the main deck. I'm pretty happy with this. Like I said, I'd maybe try to find room for Cartesia. I need to just, like I said, go ahead and order mine. I don't know. I'm not, so like this deck isn't like in my play style of decks. Like I really like high combo, high ceiling decks. But like this deck really does a lot of interacting, but it's very low ceiling. Kind of reminds me of Vanquish Soul in a way, even though I feel like Vanquish Soul with K9's a lot more, has a higher ceiling now, but it's very more interactive than it is high ceiling. But anyway, moving on, we are here onto triple Arthelion. I believe you should play this. I don't know if it's Arthelion, Arthelion. My girlfriend said it's Arthelion, which I was like another pronunciation of this card. This card on summon allows you to target and bounce monsters from field or graveyard, either player's field or graveyard, up to the number of monsters you use to summon it from the hand. So it allows you to reshuffle back your opponent's board, of course. Like that's like the most notable thing is you can summon this turn 0 and like bounce like your opponent's board back. But it also allows you to recur resources such as hand traps like Ash, Imperm, Nib, and stuff like that. Sometimes, especially at my locals, a lot of people have watched me fuse away a like Nibiru and then add back the Nibiru, but they just mentally like check out once they see me get rid of the Nibiru. They don't recall me like adding it back, in the sense of like I'll target it to add it back, but they like mentally think I pitched it in the beginning. They forget I added it back, and then they get punished with it. And that goes with multiple hand traps, but something that all the fusions share is if 2 monsters leave the field at the same time, they can reborn themselves from the graveyard but banish them when they leave the field. And then here is 2 Gulamel. Gulamel is essentially your, I think it's Titan, Thunder Dragon Titan, where if you have to chain directly to a Dracotail effect, but if a Dracotail card or effect is activated, you can quick effect chain this, target a card on the field, and destroy it. It's pretty crazy. And then I'll show you guys these 2 cards. Are probably my favorite card actually here in the entire extra deck. Is the Secretin Dragon and then the Mysterion. I really like these cards. They're both very interesting. This card literally solos in the mirror match. It's just insane. And then this card is like a really interesting floodgate. It's an interesting floodgate that I don't think people pay attention to, and I think sometimes we get so, at least for me, I was feeling that you get so hung up on making either Arthelion or the Gulamel that you could just make it. This card right here is just a pretty solid interruption too, but sometimes it's arguably better than Gulamel just because you can miss timing. Your opponent can chain block you out of using Gulamel, but this card just comes out and sits. So I don't know yet. Like I said, I'm still new to the deck. I'm still testing a lot of things. So all you Dracotail players out there who've done a lot more testing than me, let me know. But I just feel like this card's like really slept on and really powerful and into a lot of matchups. And this card, like it says, you're like, oh, let me just go and read this card. First off, they both lose under attack for every banished card, but while you control this, your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon dragons or spellcaster monsters. So I think that's insane. Like, especially if you know you're going against the mirror match, you establish this guy right here, you've practically won. It's kind of crazy. Moving on to just generic fusion. 1 Chimera. I've never made this. The Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. You make this with the King of the Swamp. Same with Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. I think that these 2, I don't know about this card yet because like you have to use this by a spell effect, so it has to be done with Ketu. But these 2 cards are definitely needed because this right here, the Tyrant Dragon lets you reset the traps, especially if you get like out resource or lose the loop. You're able to reset it with Tyrant Dragon and just clear an entire field. This guy's also 34 for no good reason. Then of course Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. We're always gooning here because we want to negate stuff. This card's pretty wild as well, especially like turn 0. If you're able to establish a Dragoon or turn, that turn start their turn, you do your whole combo and then you're able to Horn, able to Flame, and then like Dragoon. On top of it all is kind of like insane. And then that's it for the fusions. Not really much more to be said. This is the links. I play 1 Spirit, 1 Little Knight, 1 Hieratic Spears, and 1 Cross Sheep. These cards are pretty cool. Not really much to say. This right here is in here so you can turn Luke. There's like a 3-card combo. That's the thing about this deck is that you're using a lot of resources. So like it's not really like 1 or 2 card combo. It's like your whole hand type of thing. But essentially you can make this, you turn your Lucaeus into this, and then you make Spears. It's like a pretty decent combo that ends you on Gulamel, Spears, and 2 Dracotail, both Dracotail spell and traps, which is, I think, pretty insane. For a deck that doesn't have like very linear combos, I think that's pretty cool. Lespe Little Knight never has come up yet in my testing. Same with the Cross Sheep. Like there's like a theory that you can link off the Cross Sheep like link it off, and then since 2 monsters lift at the same time, you can then use like Reborn out the Arthur Lion or Gulamel to a zone it points to, then Reborn something else, and then link up into your SP Little Knight. And there's some form of interaction with it for sure, and like lines and stuff. But I haven't got to use it yet. Like I said, my testing has been very limited so far, but I've just found myself constantly like not going into it. And then finally for the last card, it's just one Typhon. Since pretty much I'm losing button, time to Typhon type of thing. But the cards I definitely use the most in the extra deck, hands down, have been right here. I mean, like, not gonna lie, I've literally gone through 2 to 3 Arthur Lion, and then almost 2 Gulamel, and then Dragoons consistently. I have definitely, yeah, it's just like, I feel like for me in my testing, I definitely got really tunnel visioned into these guys more so. That's why I was saying so much about the Mysterion here, is that I feel like Mysterion's actually a very solid inboard piece, and maybe it's just I get you guys, like I said, those out there who are better in the deck, let me know. But I just feel like you get tunnel vision onto these guys, and this card right here is an insane type of form of disruption that you could also end on that in some forms was better than Gulamel. But I don't know, the only, in all the testing, like I said, on stream and stuff like that, you can see you make these. Sometimes you even make the Secretarian here, Secretarian, yeah, I said that correctly. You make this just to reborn back a Lucaeus from the grave to get a search. But I mean, other than that, like, it can solo, because it's kind of nice, because they are some spellcaster matchups out there that you can potentially, you know. But for the most part, in the meta currently, you're not doing nothing to Yummy, you're not doing nothing to Vanquish Soul Canine with the Secretarian here. But at least, you know, it gets another rogue matchups, like you do have something. But like, this is it, like, especially in the order, like Arthur Lion's the mainstay of the deck, Gulamel, Dragoons, and this. So like, really, you guys can build your extra deck the way that you see fit and the way that you guys adjust it to your play style. But yeah, that is it for the side deck. Or for the main deck and extra deck, no side deck. I don't know why doing this video almost at midnight, so do bear with me. But yeah, so no side deck. Always build your side deck to appropriate for your locals or whatever event you're going to. You know, of course, always keep Lancia strapped, because Malice is still lurking around, and same with K9 Crystron. Just keep Malice strapped. Just keep Lancia strapped for Malice and K9. Jeez, I need to go to bed, guys. I apologize. But I want to get this deck profile out for you guys, so you guys could have like a bare bone or like a skeleton to build off of. But I feel like a lot of people have touched base on this deck already. So yeah, that's my experience of it. Out of the Just Hunter set, I do think Dracotail is my favorite. I'll probably hold on to the deck for quite a while. I will have hopefully some videos popping up, but if you guys missed the live stream, go check out the live stream. Those are all up for you guys. You guys can watch the live matches. I think I played against like Ancient Gear, White Forest, and then like we alternated the live stream. So yeah, yeah, that's it, guys. You guys stay safe, stay healthy. Charles from Team COG signing out.